Hey everybody, so this is a moment I've been looking forward to for a couple of years for sure. Picking video in my 2-year-old back to Eden / original Jack garden, I guess. It's been a lot of work to get this garden up to this point. I had to dig everything. This whole area got dug up down about 18 inches. I made some mistakes. When you're digging to sift out your rocks, you should always make sure that you dig in sequence. You dig the top, which is your topsoil, you put that down, and then you dig deeper, put that down on top of your topsoil, and I do a double sifting. So in the double sifting, you put the bottom dirt back down and then the topsoil back on top. So the first couple beds I made last year, I was just mixing the two. I didn't have as good of a result as I did by ordering the dirt, let's just say. So because your bottom dirt has no nutrients, no bacteria in it, nothing. So you should always try to get those back in the right sequence. All right, without further ado, let's get picking. These cucumbers have been just phenomenal for us this year. I only have one cucumber plant that made it past the slugs. Cucumber. This year I planted, I think it's probably 7 or 8 different types of beans. I just went crazy with it. But this bed is one of those beds where I didn't put the topsoil back on top. So I haven't had a great luck with this bed, but I figure next year it should be a lot better. So this is a piece of aluminum wire that the electricians left behind when they came to wire up the house. So I put it to good use. I got it spun across the 2 guy wires here, and next year I'm going to add a trellis here so I get even more beans. The deer came through while I was gone on vacation and chewed at the leaves, but because this was higher, they didn't cut off the tops, so my beans survived the deer. The deer never come around when I'm home, but when I'm not home, it doesn't take much for them to find my garden. One thing I've never had a hard time growing, zucchini. If you look at last year's my zucchini video, I had some nice giant zucchini. The same is true this year. Although this year I'm picking them earlier so I don't get them too big. So this year I planted 4 varieties of strawberries. No, actually 5 types of strawberries. I got some Kents, some Sables, Ozark. These are Dizzle. I have some white Alpine strawberries. So these I planted last year from seeds. I get them from Vissy Seeds, and they they will produce like 3 harvests throughout the summer. Now, I have a slug issue, but they are very, very good spreaders. So this is the original plant, and I've got it hopping here, 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 and all these extra shoots are now already producing extra berries. So I'm going to be filling this mound, and once it's full, then I'll go around and chop these runners. So this is my second dizzle plant, and it's doing okay. Again, having a little issue with slugs this year. They've been going after eating these berries, but they're just starting to get rooted in, and I think every year it should get better and better. Got some Georgia candy roaster squash here in the back growing, so I'm not sure how they'll do this year. I had a couple last year, small squash, so maybe I'll get some this year. So these are supposed to be 1.5-inch size strawberries. Every time the new batch comes up, so they will produce a batch. They produced a batch about a month ago, and then they're on their second batch, and I think I might get a third batch later in September if I'm lucky. So, or just a continuous batch from now until September, October. I've got some of these Egyptian climbing onions too. So good little tip here: if you have a no-till garden, you want to put these Egyptian onions in your ground everywhere throughout the winter. What they'll do is they'll set their roots, and they'll attract mycorrhizal fungus, which tends to set up more in the winter than during the summer. So you need to have some living roots in the winter. And I'm going to be doing that with these. The things that people don't think about trying out, I guess, is the leaves of Brussels sprout leaves. If you like Brussels sprouts, the leaves they taste the same, but what's great about these leaves is you can slice them up in thin slices and fry them in a little bit of butter, and they are absolutely delicious. Same thing with Brussels sprouts. You cut your Brussels sprouts in about a 1/4-inch steak, fry them in butter, and it's just so. It's a good way to wait, because you only get your Brussels sprouts really at the end of the year, and this year it's my garden's been a little faster than last year, but still not super fast. These back to Eden gardens, no-till gardens, take a little while for these wood chips to decompose. So I just put a fresh layer of wood chips in this garden, in this bed here. This one's going to stay as a back to Eden bed, which basically means just wood chips is the main additive here. So what I do is I get a few of these leaves, and I'm going to fry them for breakfast. We love our tomatoes, and this year I put in a lot of different types of tomatoes. Some of them are they're just volunteers that came up from just seeds from the compost or whatnot, and some of them were planted. So they're just starting to get ripe. So it's middle of August here. So these are sun sugar. This is one of my better beds for tomatoes. We had tomatoes in here last year, and Joe was calling it the tomato jungle, and it kind of looks like that this year. So we planted, I think, 4 or 5 in here, and then the rest is all a whole bunch of volunteers. They just overrun this thing, and I've just let them do it. What happens, I had it under control. Then we went on vacation for a week and a half and came back, and it had doubled in size. So I cut some of the shoots, the offshoots, and just stuck them in the ground here, and they look like they might survive. So hey, you never know. It's a good way to get extra tomatoes. So These are aroma or a plum tomato. They're just starting to get ripe. And so we're picking our first tomatoes here today.
Oh, he picked it before I could zoom in.
And got a couple more in here. So let's go see Jill's raspberries.
Berries for me. There's 3 there. And a couple over here. Yummy. Some took, some didn't. Some of these ones didn't. Hence the dead stick in the ground. That's supposed to be a raspberry right there. Yep, new raspberries. That's my narration for this morning, folks. Too early for me.
These are first year raspberries, and I didn't expect to get any. We just put these stakes in the ground this year, and we're just happy that we got some.
Happy to eat them.
I think that's a Boyne variety, and I had some yellow and some purple ones, but something survived here. So there's 2 of them that survived. I'll see next year what they are, but I gotta call into the place I bought them from. Hopefully I can get a new a replacement canes, I guess, because I could tell when I pulled them out of the bag that they weren't quite in good shape. So.
I really wanted to try the yellow ones.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely get them someday. So
Someday.
this whole area, what I want to do is expand this area, and then
to there.
Down there towards the pond, I want to put some extra blueberries. So I got a bunch of high bush blueberries that are sprouting some shoots through the wood chips. So I figure I can separate them and start planting them in here. So this whole area should be full of berries someday.
Yummy. Berry patch.
All right. So these are the white alpine strawberries I got from my brother, and they were already kind of mature and flowering. So we are going to pick some of these for breakfast.
I
And
just
you can
about
tell
ate
they're
them.
ripe when they start getting little black spots on the bottoms here. Now
When the little seeds turn
they
brown.
do get bigger than that, but because I just transplanted them, this is as big as they'll be this year, anyways.
But they're not as big as real strawberries, like
No,
regular
but
strawberries.
they do get
Oh, just
maybe.
a minute. Hold tight on your hand there.
Yeah, maybe a little bit longer, maybe 1.5 times that size. So. So our lettuce didn't grow really well this year. This bed actually.
There's an understatement.
This bed was a dead bed, deadbeat bed, and I thought it was going to be a great bed because I had last year. This was the mystery garden last year, and it did really well. But when I finished the bed off, I ended up digging it up and mixing everything up, so it kind of killed what was going on in there. So I wasn't getting anything out of this bed, and then my brother asked for a book on the benefits of urine in the garden over Christmas.
Yep, that's what he said,
So-
folks. Urine. Pee.
I peed on my beets.
Not the beets we're eating. Clarify that, for God's sakes.
Well, a couple months ago,
When they were tiny little baby sprouts.
and they were about 2 months, tiny sprouts, and I said, no,
They weren't growing at all.
So
And now look at them. Oh, they're so nice.
yeah. So it literally boosted them and saved the beets. I saved the beets with my pee. So it turns out urine is actually very safe to use in your garden. You want to use it. You want to pick your vegetables at least a month after you've added urine to your garden.
Again, not on the plants.
Not on the plants, at the root.
Just for those who might try it.
Dilute the urine down 10-to-1, and you can water with it. Anyways, I would have had nothing in this bed if I wouldn't have done that. Also, I had a little critter. Little groundhog was coming in through here and stuff. So the urine also, it helps to keep the predators out, and it's
annoyances.
fantastic fertilizer. It's I would say it's better than store-bought fertilizer if you use it in the right method, right manner. So, and it's completely natural, and it has other benefits. You get your magnesium, phosphorus, other things that store-bought fertilizers don't have, and it's completely natural. So, and yeah, so I wouldn't even had these lettuce. Now, mind you, I didn't pee on this like yesterday. This was like 2 months ago.
I draw the line there, folks.
So, this is our first lettuce from the garden.
Woohoo!
All right, let's get some beets. So I planted 4 types of beets. I got one variety here, one here, and then one here and one here. So these are, I think, the baby beets. So they're supposed to be about 1 inch, and they're at least 1 inch.
I like the tops.
The big ones. I like the beets. We love beets.
Yep, the tops, the beets,
These
everything.
are kind of a long variety, a longer beet.
Like a fingerling almost.
Fingerling, yep. And then I have, let's see here, your parents like beets, so a few. These ones are white and pink. So I forget the name of the variety, but they're fairly delicious. Had a few. All right. A little over here. Oh. Some beets. And then we're gonna get some potatoes. So this was an early potato bed. We've eaten this. We've been eating these since July, early July. It was a Norland red potato variety, so it's done.
Yep.
Potatoes work really well in this Back to Eden garden. I've only really got the top layer, 1/2 inch of wood chips left on the top. Everything's decomposed in there. So I'm going to be adding some fresh wood chips I'm going to make with my chipper this year. I'll build this one up really high, and next year should be even better. So potatoes are growing so well in here that they're literally popping out of the ground. You see that potato? It's lifting. So I don't know what the end result's going to look like, but we'll see.
Ooh,
so I
those are
think
white.
these are Yukon. And too bad. Got a green one there, but
Chuck them in the
you'll
composter.
see what I'll do. I'll put them back in there. This one's green too, so sadly, green
That's
also.
the only problem when they're not
Yeah.
dug in the ground enough and they come out
I
to the top, they
think-
get green.
I guess I didn't dig enough. Didn't dig down enough.
Lesson learned for next year.
Lesson learned, yep. All right. Well, I'm not going to do that twice. I am going to dig down deep here.
It's not like we have a shortage of potatoes.
It's too bad though, eh? These
Yeah,
are
it is.
nice.
Those are beautiful.
Nice green.
Yeah.
Got some green on them.
Can't eat the green ones, folks. Not good for you.
Wow.
Put them back in the ground for next year.
Didn't think they'd do that. All right. Future project. I got another one popping out of the ground here, which sadly
Hopefully they're not green as well. But they might be.
probably the same issue.
Oh, those are red. Those
These
ones.
are red. The red variety. These are good.
That's another big one right there. Oh, I hear our hawk. We have what I think is a Cooper's hawk who lives in our lovely little neighborhood. Hoping
Ooh, that's
he
a
or
nice
she makes a family. Ooh, those are nice.
And when you put these in the wood chips, they spread their roots really, really far. It's quite incredible. Well, that's enough for supper.
Yeah, there's already some in the house too. Oh.
So when I started making these back to Eden gardens, I wasn't double sifting. So these beds never got double sifted because I didn't intend to plant potatoes in here. So I just ended up buying extra seed this year, and we have probably potatoes till December for sure.
Yeah, we have a lot of potatoes.
Here. So it's too bad we didn't. I didn't dig deep enough here for these Yukons. That's it for the potatoes. All right, so my onion results have been spotty and mixed. So, but this bed is doing really good this year, and should get better next year. So it's got a nice onion here, and we need one for breakfast. So this is, I think this might be a shallot. Anyways, it's doing good.
Yum.
I think we planted these last year. So yeah, it's a shallot because it's splitting apart, see?
Yum.
And my brother gave me some this year again, so a new variety, so I'll be planting them in.
Let's see those close again.
Splitting, making two different. And we need some herbs for the smoked onion, smoked egg.
This is my favorite part of the garden. My herb garden.
This is Jill's
Let me zoom in here. We have
garden.
rosemary, and we have some really strong basil.
Oregano.
There's oregano and there's
Sweet
basil
oregano.
there, but wow, it's strong. It's like a peppery. Chives, parsley over there.
I'm gonna get some rosemary.
Sorry, folks.
You want one or two?
One should be good, thanks.
And then some chives. Put a little parsley in it today.
I like just oregano and chives. Yummy. He's so nice. He cuts it all with his scissors. I just rip it out with my hand.
I just have the scissors with me.
But I love herbs. The only herb I couldn't find this year that I really wanted in my garden that I use a lot is thyme. For some reason, couldn't find it anywhere this year. Had it at our old house in like bushels. I should have taken it with us. So bummed.
All right.
No time for thyme.
Oh.